All right, the Biohackers Guide to Surviving Mental Health, Addiction, all that fun stuff. This is like take 4. I am not good at these videos. This is hard for me. I can't stay on topic. I got notes, but here's the point. let me try to frame this. So what I'm trying to do with this is give people a long list of things that they consider that most likely they've never come across or just haven't heard anybody else talk about. You know, I just don't see a lot of other people taking on the mental health side and like really talking about all the different tools, you know, because there's so many different things, and it's like, you know, psychedelics and amino acid therapy and talk therapy and CBT. It's like the list is endless. And people share some good stuff, but it's like I haven't seen anybody kind of like really just run through a list of, hey, these are like the best things that are kind of available right now. And I dare say, I think I've tried, oh, geez, Christ, I think I've almost tried everything except for like ayahuasca, ibogaine, kind of these more like really strong psychedelics. I have done ketamine, psilocybin, that stuff. But I've been on this fun journey ever since I got smoked with PTSD from insomnia and panic attacks and this whole mess. Like, it really, I've shared about it. If you're from my community, you probably may have known or have heard the story before. But I mean, I don't want to make this video too long. I'm very bad at doing that, or I consistently will do that. So long story short, my background is, you know, ADD, ADHD, diagnosed very young, growing up, bad social anxiety. But I did take medication for ADD for maybe a couple years, but for some reason I really didn't like it, so I stopped taking it. And I was able to manage. I was able to get through. I mean, the social anxiety stuff, like, it wasn't fun, but I was able to, like, I kind of just pushed through it, and I never, it didn't hold me back terribly. I mean, definitely, it was rough at some points, but, and that social anxiety led into alcohol, which was, you know, kind of self-medicating, and that was 14, 15, you know, got into alcohol and then party crowd, and it was just like that, you know, that was my niche. Like, I loved it. Like, alcohol works on GABA, it relaxes you, so it was just kind of how I went through things. But again, I don't want to make this too long and messy, but long story short, that I did that for a very long time. Drinking, I mean, my background is exercise physiology, so it's like I have always tried to I've walked this line of like I like to party, I like to drink, but at the same time, like, I loved human performance, I love sports, I love pushing the human body, like, the limits. I have, you know, I got my degree exercise physiology, I may have already said that, but like, I was 100% all in on this health thing, like, absolutely loved it. I still, like, it's just all I ever think about is how to improve human performance. But at the same time, I have, you know, I don't know if you call it functional alcoholic, but binge drinking like a couple times a week. And it's like, I did that started at 14 to 15, and that was like through college, it was the normal. So that carried into 20s, and essentially it all blew up in my face late 20s with just this period of chronic stress that led into, I mean, just this fucking insomnia meltdown. Well, I've never dealt with insomnia. I've never dealt with depression. Like, I've had panic attacks before, but this event, I mean, it was like I was highly anxious, and it kind of transpired, and it kind of led up to a panic attack. And that night I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna sleep. And I didn't sleep, like, and that's never happened in my life. Like, I didn't sleep at all, and I was having panic attacks all night long. And in my mind, I'm like, this is going to go down a dark path. Like, I knew it. I felt it right away. I'm like, if I can't sleep and I'm having panic, I'm like, this is going to fucking break me. And it did break me. It wasn't fun. It was a 2-month spiral into hell, which left a nasty, nasty mark. It put me in a hospital. It almost killed me. Like, I broke as a person. I prided myself on being like, I thought I was a badass. Like, I played football. You know, I've always been able to push myself extremely, extremely hard. And I've overcome a lot. You know, I'm not saying I didn't have bad parents, but support-wise, I've kind of always been on my own. Like, my parents did the best. Like, nothing against them at all. You know, I had people there, but I mean, I think it was like 17, 18, like I was fully on my own. Like I was just put myself through college, like the works. And it's like, I took pride in that. Like, I'm like, yeah, I'm an independent person. I can push myself. I can figure stuff out. And, yeah, that insomnia spiral, like I thought I could figure it out, and I did not figure it out. And I put myself in a very bad position because I didn't ask for help at all. It was too egotistical. There's too much shame. I was hiding what was happening. And it was like, when I got to my breaking point, I was asking for help, and I couldn't get a call back from a psychiatrist. You know, the week that like things really got bad, I was desperately trying to find help, and I could not fucking get a call. So it's like, it's tough. So I'm going to try to lay out stuff that can save people from going through what I did, because the recovery, you know, obviously I survived, thankfully. But coming out of that, I mean, like I say, it put me in a hospital, and they tried to say it was bipolar, full-blown medication. It's like, listen, like I'm ADHD. My mom was bipolar. There's bipolar in my family. But like, I don't go manic. Like when I couldn't sleep, like it was adrenaline and cortisol. I was stuck in fight or flight, and like my body will do that to the point that it's like, it's fucking insane, man. Just like, I kept thinking, I'm like, there's no way, like, how can my body be stuck in this for so long? And it just didn't end. So I don't want to drag, I've gone already too far into that. I have another video. I kind of talk more in depth on that, just to share that fun journey. But to make this useful information, what I'm going to do is just I'm going to run through the stuff that, all the tools that have helped me the most. It's going to be kind of rapid fire, because otherwise I can already tell, like, I'm going to end up talking forever. I could write a book on this stuff. I want to write a book. I'm building a website. I mean, I already have a website, but what I'm doing on my website is I'm kind of creating like consumer reports for health and wellness. I really want to pull everything together, all the tools that I've come across in my life from all areas of medicine. I'm talking like mindset stuff. I mean, mental health, self-help books, like just all the pieces to the puzzle that have made a difference for me. Because to me, that's what it takes, is you got to pull from everything. You got to just rapid trial. You got to try so much stuff and just find what works for you. I mean, anybody who's telling you that it's this one thing, like they're bullshit you. Like so many times I'm like, I got convinced to buy into this one program or this one supplement or whatever. And it's like, I'm like, it's going to fix everything. And that's what it sounded like. But my personal experience has been, it takes a lot of stuff, and it's a roller coaster. Like you hit some good streaks, and then you hit some bad streaks. And for me, what has kept me alive is having a big fucking bag of tools. Whereas if my anxiety kicks up, I got 15 things I know I can turn to. I got a whole long list of like, hey, if it gets bad, I got this, this, and this. I know what I can turn to. I know how I can get through this period. And that's how I've had to survive. So I've spent a long time researching and just hunting down everything that can make a huge difference. And I found some just absolutely amazing stuff, and there's not enough people talking about it. So I guess it's going to be my mission. I'm just going to kind of share and put this information out there, because a lot of this stuff it's well studied. It's not fringe, weird, crazy stuff. Like a lot of these treatments I get are local. It's growing in popularity. So to me, that's kind of my focus. This is what I love doing. Okay, so I got notes. Let's see. So I covered a lot of stuff. I covered my brand. So usually if you watch my videos, like I have a peptide education course. I got affiliates. There's a business side to this. This video, there's going to be no affiliate codes. I'm not plugging anything. I think it would take away from what I'm trying to share, because I know in the past people have said, like, you know, I was listening to your information, then you plugged a code, and then it's like, I know that takes away. So it's like, there's going to be none of that. Like if you want to know where I buy some of this stuff, you can join my Facebook group or whatever. Like I said, I don't want to link anything and take away from the information, because I need to put this information out there, because it's driving me fucking nuts. Like in my head, I'm just like, you need to do this, you need to do this. And I know this is going to be a rambling mess, but I don't care. It just needs to get done. Okay. So big picture mindset for mental health. For me, it's just, so mental health and chronic health issues, all of this stuff to me boils down to, it is all rapid trial error, in my opinion. you know, you do all the testing, you gather the most information, and then you just come up with the best plan you can get, and then you try stuff. And it's like, that's what your doctors, that's what a psychiatrist is doing. They're like, hey, let's try this med. Oh, that didn't work. Here's another one. Let's layer that one on. And look, I'm not anti-medication. I don't know if I've said this, but there's a time and a place to take the meds. Anxiety meds saved my fucking life. Like, I wouldn't be here if I didn't have that safety net of like, hey, nothing's working. At least I have this to get relief. So I can get relief. I can get to the next day. I can reevaluate, and boom, I'm back on my biohacking, you know, thing. Like, yeah, let me try this. I got this idea. And that's worked. It's kept me here, which is good, which is important. I want to be here. So, God, this is such a shit show. Yeah, so that's what's worked. Okay, yeah, so long list. Okay, so again, kind of framing this, what I found that's worked, that's helped me kind of manage things, but also with my mindset, and just, I mean, really it comes down to like having hope. To me, like having hope that you can feel better, that that you're not just gonna be suffering forever, like that is huge. So for me, that comes down to, okay, like every time I've gone through hard periods, like I literally sit down, I write a list. I'm like, here's all the things that I know can help me. And I have a backup, you know, lots of options where it's like, hey, if this doesn't work, I can try this, I can try that. That way it's like, I never hit that point where I'm like, I'm out of options. Like, and that does not feel, that is a bad feeling when you're like against the wall, you are suffering, and you're like, I got nothing. Like, there's no one to turn to. There's no one that can help me. And it's like, you start to lose hope. You lose hope. It's bad. Like, if there's hope, like I can suffer through some shit. Like, I've suffered because in the back of my mind, I'm like, you know what? I still have this tool. I still haven't tried this. Like, you know what? It could get better. Like, that hope is a big piece. So like, this video is gonna be stupid long. I'm gonna do timestamps so people can skip around, because I just don't want to try to like reshoot this 100 times. So yeah, so what I can do is give people a long list, and it's going to be a list of things to look into. Like, it's always up to the individual. Like, I can say something's amazing for me, and it might be terrible for you. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, each individual is going to respond, and what's going to fit you is going to be a little bit different. So it's like, it just comes down to rapid trial and error. It's like everything I've studied, like even business and, you know, all these different kind of facets of life. It's like, what everyone's kind of saying is like, you just try a lot of stuff and you figure out what works for you. And it's like, that's why I don't agree with the people that are kind of dogmatic and say carnivore is going to fix all your problems, or this tool or this supplement. All you need to do is psychedelics or mushrooms. And it's like, that's going to fix everything. And it's like, it sets people up for failure. Like, you're going to find a tool, kind of this rotation of thing. That's what I've done, is I have a large number of things that I know help me, and I know when to use them. I know the dosage, all that stuff. It's like, but it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of trial and error. But it's fucking worth it. Trust me. It makes all the difference. Okay. So, quickly, everyone, I mean, I know people know this, but to get the best results with health, with anything, all the baseline health aspects have to be addressed. Diet needs to be good. You need to be moving your body, lifestyle. I mean, hormone replacement, or just hormone optimization, is a key piece that I think gets overlooked, especially for, I mean, men and women. If you're low testosterone, for men and women need testosterone. If you don't have testosterone, you don't feel good. So if your hormones are jacked, I mean, that could be a big piece to the puzzle. So getting someone, I mean, sorry, not your gynecologist, not your endocrinologist. These people do not understand hormone optimization. You need to find a good hormone specific clinic with specialists. I mean, I can refer some people. I mean, another thing I'm doing is I want to build a big network that I can refer people to get whatever your goal is, whatever your struggle is. I can refer you to someone that I trust, that I know has all the tools. I've coached and consulted for 15 years. I have a lot of experience. To be transparent, I guess, I don't coach and consult anymore. I really have moved to this content piece, and I have a peptide education course, but it's going to be more of like it's really going to turn into a hack your health kind of like just me sharing all the stuff that I've learned. It's going to go into testing, but I'm not trying to sell that, but I'm just, either way, I'm saying I'm trying to build something that gets people to the right people that can actually fucking help you. I'm going to swear a lot. I don't really care. Yeah. So that's it. Yeah. So hormone rant, very important. Can make a world of difference. I mean, guys that are low T, you could be feeling depressed, you could feel moody, you could feel terrible, you could feel all these things. You talk to your primary, they're going to put you, they're like, oh, you're depressed. Here's an SSRI, or here's an anxiety medication. You know what I mean? When it may just be your testosterone, but like your hormones are toast. So it's like that can make a huge difference. And maybe it's not going to solve everything, but you know what I mean? It's like you can, you know, you're here and it might take you here. And it's just like, it's one of those pieces that can help you feel better overall. And I have some videos on like my TRT journey and all that stuff, but that was an amazing tool. Okay. So the other thing, most of the stuff I'm going to share, probably stuff that's, most of it you probably heard of. A few things probably never heard of, but a lot of it is just not generic kind of bland stuff. Or, you know, I see some people talking about for anxiety, they're recommending like L-theanine or some other like basic amino acids. It's like, what the stuff I'm sharing is like, if you're like me and you got like anxiety is like, I can't sleep anxiety. Like my skin is crawling. I'm talking about like, this is for people that like really struggle. The stuff I talk about can, like everything I'm going to talk about, 90% of it can work if you're optimized, if you feel freaking great and you want to feel even better, it'll get you there. Like the stuff I'm finding is just like really powerful healing tools, not just, ew, some spittle. I'll edit that one. Not just your run of the mill stuff. Like I want to find stuff that makes a big difference, that you feel fast. Like I don't want to wait. I don't want to wait 3 months to, you know, to feel better. Like the stuff that works, that I found that really works, like you will feel it and you can feel it fast and you can get relief. Like that's what we want. Like if we're suffering, like don't tell me I gotta wait 3 to 4 weeks. Like I need something now. Like 3 to 4 weeks like feels like a freaking lifetime when you're suffering. Okay, so I'm gonna finally get into it. So first one, PTSD, anxiety, panic attacks. That is my wheelhouse. That's where I've lived a portion of my life. But I will say, before I get into this mini rant, I have gone periods without anxiety, feeling fantastic. So it's like, this is the unfortunate part of like the good and bad of what I've been through. Like I know what it feels like to just go through the day and feel great. Like I've been there. So for me, it's like, I know the potential why I fight like fucking crazy to get there is it's like, I suffer, but I also get to see like how good the potential of what life can be when I'm not dealing with these issues. And so mission, I'm gonna spend the rest of my life just keep pushing, optimizing, and trying everything to just get, even if it's 10% better, cool, 10% is 10%, like I'll take it. But I don't want to paint this picture like I've always been a shit show. Like I've had really good periods and I've been a top performer and I've experienced what it can be to live like that. And that's what I want. I want it for me, I want it for you. Okay. PTSD, anxiety, panic attacks, like I've said, my insomnia meltdown, that was because of panic attacks. I could not sleep because of panic attacks, because my anxiety was so high. Adrenaline pumping, cortisol, I could not sleep. It wrecked my circadian rhythm. And it did not matter. I could try CBD, you could try THC. I tried every normal kind of run-of-the-mill anti-anxiety option. The problem, this is what almost killed me, is I refused medication. I wouldn't take anxiety medication. I wouldn't take a sleep med. I thought I could fix it all on my own. And for 2 months, I failed and I slipped into a dark, dark place. That's what put me in a hospital. So again, side rant, know the time and place to take the medication because it can save your life. Like I'm very lucky I'm still here. Okay. So as kind of a base safety net, I mean, for me, it's a benzodiazepine. And it's like, I would never preface this. I don't recommend taking the anxiety medication unless it's like, if you've tried everything and you're at your wit's end and nothing, it's like, that will get you relief. and someone's going to yell at me because listen, benzodiazepines can be very addicting. They can be horribly difficult to come off. And I know this because I'm still tapering off. This is my 4th time. It is a hellish process. But that being said, if you're suffering and you're at your breaking point, like, there's nothing else that, like, when my anxiety goes off, like, there's just nothing else that, like, nothing will touch it. I've tried everything. When it hits that level. So for me, that is my safety, like, and it gives me peace of mind knowing, like, hey, I've tried everything. I did it all, and it's still, like, I can't get my body to kick out of that. And it does that. Like, it kicks me out, and a lot of times, like, I'll take a dose, or I'll take a couple doses, and then I can stop, because it's like it's almost like my body just loses faith, or like I lose faith in my body. Like, I don't know. I'm not going to go down that road, but either way, I've had a lot of success doing that. And if I didn't abuse it, I mean, that is why I'm back on these is addiction issues and bad habits and that whole mess. But yeah, okay. I'm not going to rant on that forever. This video is going to be stupid long. I'm sorry. Okay. PTSD, anxiety. So first heavy hitter, and I'll preface this. So I'm going to end up saying some of these are going to be in every category of depression, addiction, some of these tools. And I mean, there's a small handful of stuff that is just like big time heavy hitters, get you relief, can help you detox and recover and get you back to a place. And they're just not discussed enough. Like, not enough people know that this shit's even an option. Like, some of the stuff is expensive, but it's like, if you're suffering every day and you don't have options and you're running out of hope, like, I would throw the dart, you know. And it's like, I've thrown darts in the past, been like, all right, fuck it. Like, I'm suffering every day. Like, how much, it's almost like, how much worse can it get? So that's really messed up, but yeah. Okay. First one, if you're in my community, you've heard me rant about this a million times. NAD+, nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide. So this is a coenzyme the body makes that is crucial for energy production. I mean, who cares about the science? The science is there. This has been used for addiction since the 50s, but it's used now. It's getting big for anti-aging because it works amazing for energy. It helps with cellular repair and DNA repair and detox, like all this stuff. Blah, 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 blah. Who cares? For addiction, for me, like I say, for me, this got me relief from, I mean, when I was chaping off of benzodiazepines, it helped me with anxiety, helped me with chronic fatigue from coming off. Every time I come off, you know, the medication, like, I go through periods of horrible chronic fatigue, withdrawals, just mind racing. You feel horrible. You're just a total mess. For me, NAD+, going in for, so you can do IV infusions, and for addiction, if you have serious addiction, you want an NAD infusion. Don't mess with capsules. Don't try to take nasal sprays. Like, if you're in a more severe situation, the infusions are what is going to make a big difference. But for me, it's like that stuff was like, they use it to rapid detox people off of alcohol, off of opiates. Opiates, they're saying it will cut your withdrawals by 60, 70%. And this is researched. It's safe. Our body makes this. Like, it is literally, it's like one of these miracle compounds. Really, it sounds too good to be true. But do your digging. Everything I say, just, you know, go to YouTube, find people giving real world feedback on it. You're going to find people that are going to, like, say this. If you dig deep enough, the information is out there. I mean, there's a few good doctors that talk about, like, NAD for addiction, but it's hard because some of these people talking, it just sounds like too much hype. And it's like, how do you buy into it? And especially NAD infusions are expensive. I wish I could say they weren't. I'll link. So there's a clinic out in Indiana that does take insurance, and they specialize in addiction. I'm trying to hunt down every place that does this, that specializes in addiction and uses NAD, because it's fucking better than everything. It actually treats the root. It helps repair, helps you get back to your baseline. Like, it's not just a temporary relief. Like, it can literally bridge the gap between you feeling like shit, getting off of this stuff, and then continuing to stay off of this stuff. Like, it's that good. Like, and I don't know, like, I've done so much of this stuff. I've never had side effects. Like it's amazing. It still works. Like I've used more than I'd ever want to admit. And that's my fault. I should have been off this stuff 3 years ago. If I did everything right, I'd be off and I'd feel freaking good right now. So that's another rant about addiction. All right. So NAD plus, my opinion, PTSD, anxiety, amazing. Of course, these are just tools. You still have to go to the root, what's triggering your anxiety, like all that mental side of things. What is at the core of that? I mean, that's not really my specialty. I can give some ideas on that, but yeah, NAD plus, either way, you're struggling bad with a lot of different things. It is one of the best I'd look into. Another one, so ketamine, psychedelic. There's ketamine clinics all across the U.S. I got 2 in my state. I'm in Connecticut. I've done 12 ketamine infusions, and ketamine for PTSD, my opinion, I mean, for me, far and away, the best thing I've ever tried. Like I said, the insomnia spiral left a nasty mark. Like, talk about triggering, like, the times afterwards that I would have struggled sleeping, it would put me back into the death spiral I had for that 2 months. Like, my body would be convinced it's happening again, and it would just be gripped with terror and anxiety. It's just this mess. And it's been 5 years of this stuff, and it's like I still can get triggered. Like, it's very difficult. But again, ketamine is one of those tools that it can get me if I'm in a bad cycle of the PTSD. Like, it will break the cycle. Like, it will for me, it shut it down. Like, I was able, the first time I got off anxiety medication, which was extremely difficult, it was like a 7 to 8 month taper. The ketamine was the thing that finally was able to allow me to make the leap, because once I stopped, the problem was, obviously your sleep just goes to shit. And I have PTSD about not sleeping, so it's like there is a nasty loop in there for me. And so with the ketamine, after doing an infusion, I know this was like it was after the first infusion. So like that night, I was pairing the ketamine with doing the kind of a faster taper. That night, like when I went to bed, normally there'd be they're trigger thoughts for me. It's like, oh my God, like what if I don't sleep? And that would elicit kind of that PTSD anxiety response. You know, my heart would elevate, and then I'd start to feel anxious, and then the mind would start to race. It was this nasty loop. So with ketamine, like the thoughts would come up, but there'd be no physical reaction. Like thoughts would be there, and I'd expect, and I'd be tense, and I'd be like, oh shit, here we go. Like I'm waiting for the anxiety spike and the spiral down, and it just didn't happen. And my mind would just keep doing it and be like, is it going to happen? Is it going to happen? And eventually it just didn't happen. And I calmed down, and there's a couple of natural sleep aids I'll talk about. And I was able to sleep. Like it was fucking nuts. I was like, holy shit. It's like, and here's the thing, it's not the thoughts that cause the pain and the issues. It's the chemical, it's the body reaction to it. Like if you have a thought, but there's no physical pain, there's no anxiety, there's no depression attached to it. It's just a thought. It's like, all right, whatever. Like it's a thought, you know, it's not affecting me. But when that thought gets attached to a feeling, then it becomes real. Then it's like, oh wow, that thought is real. And that's like that's how you get caught in that mess. At least, again, all for me. So my opinion, ketamine, amazing for PTSD, amazing for anxiety, for depression. I mean, it's been used as kind of like an emergency intervention for people that are like suicidal, because it can work extremely fast. Again, research everything, there's contraindications, but in my experience and the community feedback, like ketamine is very well reviewed, and I just haven't come across people having, you know, really bad experiences. It's kind of these things that's very well researched, and you can do it in a controlled environment. It's not like you got to go see a shaman out in, you know, the rainforest and do a enchanted dance or whatever. Okay, ketamine, and I'll just say ketamine, psychedelics in general, psilocybin for anxiety. I'm not so sure about that, but I think psilocybin still has benefits because it decreases blood flow to the default mode network, which is where your ruminations are, kind of it's like we are kind of like computers, where it's like you'll get stuck in these loops, and it's like you can't stop it. Sometimes it's just like these are like, God, what are the intrusive thoughts or whatever? Like you just can't stop it. So psilocybin is interesting. It actually decreases the blood flow to that area, And so what I've noticed is it's easier to like get out of those loops. You're all of a sudden, it's like, what, you know, you kind of just notice, you're more present is what I've noticed. Almost like losing my voice. So yeah, so good stuff. Ketamine, I know LSD's being studied. There's a few others. So in general, psychedelics to me, for mental health, there's a massive potential. You just got, I mean, it's strong shit, and the trips are intense. Like I said, I've done 12 ketamine trips. I didn't talk to Jesus. I didn't see any past relatives. Like, I see some people saying crazy stuff, and it's like, to me, it's a very interesting experience, very therapeutic. You know, I still use oral ketamine, kind of smaller doses, and for me, it's very good for me it helps me work through problems. It also brings up stuff that I guess I'm suppressing. So a lot of times, if I'm struggling, like, I will do kind of ketamine at home, and I kind of have my own process to go through that. And there's just, for me, it's like, it's better than therapy. And any talk therapy, like, I don't like to just drag and try to look. I really don't like talk therapy, to be honest, because it's like, it's almost like they're trying to find problems by digging up stuff. And for me, I don't know, it just made it worse. I think there's value in everything for everyone, but just not for me. Ketamine helped me to see my problems and not have that anxiety or that nasty reaction to it. And it just kind of changed the way I was able to view it. And sometimes I was able to kind of figure stuff out or come to a conclusion, not even figure it out, but come to a conclusion that was able to like say, okay, like I can put this one away. Either way, great stuff from that angle. Okay, this is taking way too long. Cerebrolysin, again, if you're in my group, Cerebrolysin I've talked about for years. Absolutely amazing tool. So these are like NAD+, amazing. Ketamine, amazing. Cerebrolysin, it's been around for 60 to 70 years. It's approved in over 50 countries. It's used for traumatic brain injury, for not PTSD, for traumatic brain injury, ADD, ADHD, dementia, Alzheimer's, stroke. It is a neuropeptide, neurotrophic compound that it's incomparable to anything. What it is it does not exist. It is a biologic, meaning it is animal derived. It has amino acids, vitamins, minerals, neuropeptides, and it is extremely powerful at healing, which all sounds cool. But so from mental health standpoint, what I notice and what other people notice is it hits almost, I compare it to like Xanax, like kind of a mild benzodiazepine. Like, it has pulled me out of a panic attack, and there's not anything else that will do that. There's nothing. Like, when I'm going into panic attacks, like, it's Cerebrolysin can sometimes pull me out, not every time, and then I'll pass that, it's benzodiazepine. Like, that's it. So it's that strong. I don't really understand why it has that strong of a compound. In fact, I've never seen literature that indicates that, but time and time again, I get these reports. You know, I've been consulting on people for 5 years, and client feedback is just amazing. People love this stuff. If you're on the performance side, I don't know if anybody's watching this for performance, but it's unparalleled because it modulates stress. So it's like your cognitive processing is faster. You don't respond to stress as much. To me, it's almost like a super vitamin for your brain, because it has all these vitamins and minerals that are crucial for brain processes that, you know, when we eat stuff, our body has to break it down. A lot of times it's not getting properly assimilated, especially if you have gut issues. So when you inject something, it is injectable, it bypasses all that, and you're getting 100% bioavailability. This crosses the blood-brain barrier, of course. So you are getting all these crucial nutrients that if we have mental imbalances, we're fucked in some area. Like, we need that help. So, and if it's a good fit for you, it is an amazing tool. You can cycle it for the rest of your life. I know some people are taking it long-term. As far as that, I would just go by the studies. There's a ton of literature on this stuff. But yeah, like Cerebrolysin, life-changing tool. Ketamine, potential life-changing. NAD+, expensive, but life-changing. Like, this is the stuff more people need to, I'm not gonna go off, but more people need to know about this stuff. Because, I mean, guys that have PTSD, like war vets that are just medicated and just struggling their asses off, like, this kind of stuff can help, like, make a world of difference. Like, keep those people around, like, help them recover. Okay, PTSD, anxiety. So this one I'm going to briefly touch on. So there's a mushroom. It's called Amanita Muscaria. It is, so it's not like psilocybin, but it is psychedelic. This one you really, really, really need to research. There's books on Amazon, but what it is it is a powerful anxiolytic. So it does work on the GABA system, which is like alcohol, your benzodiazepine. So it is very powerful relaxant, almost like I'd say borderline sedative. But if you have chronic sleep issues, or I have used it to help come off of benzodiazepines because you're such a mess coming off that stuff. And it's an amazing tool. If you can, I mean, it's a tough one to brew. You can find some people that have extracts. What I would do is go into there's a couple big Facebook groups that are all about Amanita, like research, because if you brew it wrong, you take too much, like you go on a trip, and I've heard it's a very intense trip. Like, that one is potent, powerful, but some people say it's life-changing. I think it is one of those things. It's very powerful tool. PTSD. Okay, so hyperbaric oxygen therapy. Those big tubes they put people into to, I mean, I think they do it for like scuba dives or something, to like deep, I don't even know what I'm saying, but let me talk about what I do understand. It's been studied for traumatic brain injury pretty extensively. They use it for wound healing. They use these in a medical setting a lot. So I don't know about studies on PTSD anxiety, but I will tell you, I've been trying a lot of stuff. And last year I ran into another big issue with PTSD blow off and insomnia. And I'm running through everything I can, but I'm still kind of struggling. And I found a local place that does high pressure hyperbaric, which to me, it was a dart throw. It was expensive, but I've targeted, for me, because I have traumatic brain injury, I played football. I've targeted everything that can heal the brain. If it is a powerful tool that can heal the brain, I'm like, to me, it's just logic says heal the brain and good things can happen. If I can heal, I can raise my baseline, and I might not cure anything. I might not ever cure what I'm dealing with, but at least I can notice. I'm sure there's potential for lasting benefits. That's where I go. So long story short, hyperbaric, it was, I mean, man, it's another one I put into top 10 all-time amazing tools. Like, research is there. The feedback is there if you dig into it. So for me, my experience was very first session, I went in, I'm in a bad spot. PTSD's blowing off, anxiety. I don't even know if this thing's going to help, but I'm feeling like kind of the tools I was using at that time weren't making a big difference. So I was very stressed. And about halfway through, I started to feel more relaxed, and I'm like, no fucking way. I'm like, there's no way, like, one session. Like, I really just didn't know what to expect from it, and I didn't read a lot of, it was like, I didn't come across a ton of reports. I mean, there are reports. I mean, I always go to YouTube and Reddit or whatever, and there was people saying amazing things, but I'm always skeptical. But so my experience, halfway through, I start to feel relaxed. By the end, I'm like coming out of that, like, stuck in fight or flight. And if you've been there, like, you know what I'm talking about, where your body finally starts, you can breathe, like, things start to relax. And again, my mind was doing the kind of like, oh my God, like, if the anxiety's gonna come back, it's like fucking with me, like, trying to like trigger it. And when I left, I kept waiting to feel anxious again. I'm like, it's gonna come back. I'm like, this is too good to be true. And I felt calm like the rest of the day. And I was just like, every hour that went by, I felt calm. I was like, that again fed into that hope where I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, I think I got another tool, like, this could be huge. And it turned out it was. And it was like every single session I went in, I left and I felt 10% minimum more relaxed. I mean, at times it was 30, 40, 50% better. And it would last. I mean, I can't say like how long it lasts because I'm tapering anxiety medication. My son is on right now. So yeah, just amazing tool. It actually benefits and heals the brain. Oxygen, more oxygen, imagine that. It does really good things for the body. It's a tool I still use right now. It's still amazing. And it's something that I'm going to use the rest of my life. Like, I'll cycle that. And so as far as finding hyperbaric, I mean, I always go to Google, type in high pressure hyperbaric if you're trying to do high pressure, which I think is a great one. Again, expensive shit. But what I did find was there's a couple like franchise clinics in my area, Restore Hyper Wellness and iCryo. Both of those are carrying low pressure hyperbaric. It's a soft chamber, but my experience, like, I still feel the benefits. Like, I still go in, I still feel relaxed after. It's not quite as pronounced as the high pressure, but to me, and it's way more affordable. I think it's maybe 40 or 50 a session. Like, still not cheap, but you know, if you're struggling, then you do what you got to do. And some of these other tools are way more affordable. Like the Amanita, if you want to go down that rabbit hole, like you can get that stuff relatively cheap, and that's a great one. Okay, so PTSD, still on PTSD anxiety. So I covered psychedelics. So psychedelics I think are amazing. There's something called a stellate ganglion block. That one I almost did. It's essentially they do an injection of, like, I think it's Novocaine into the stellate. I don't know. It's essentially this bundle of nerves that is supposedly has to do with your fight or flight system. And they say by kind of this injection, it can, this is what they say, it'll reset your baseline, because for those of us that have been stuck in fight or flight, it's almost like your body compensates and we become adapted to be like stuff. It's really messed up what happens. Like, our body adapts to be in that heightened state. So we can kind of, like, the body learns how to, like, stay in that state. So supposedly what the injection does is it'll put you back at a normal baseline where you're less reactive and you don't have those blow off triggers. There are, honestly, when I looked into like the risks or like what could go wrong with my anxiety, like I was like, I can't do this. It didn't feel right at the time. My feedback's mixed, but I'll just present it. Like, I think it's something worth looking into. At least take a peek at it. It's kind of the last one on the heavy hitter list. At least worth a look. This is, man, I'm at 40 minutes. Oh, why did I do this so long? Okay. Insomnia. Okay, I'm going to rapid fire this stuff because it's just taking too long. So insomnia, like I've said before, Klonopin is my fail-safe. Perfect world scenario. I don't even use Klonopin. This is a perfect world scenario. I get to the point, I've been here. I've got to this point. I don't use Klonopin. It's there if I need it, and that's it. If I'm being smart and with all the other tools I have, I don't need it. It provides the safety net of, hey, if something blows off, like, it's there. And that peace of mind is perfect. Like, that's the perfect world scenario. Okay, so insomnia. So I didn't touch upon this. I should have. So kava is a herb. It's a plant. I'm not gonna try to rattle off all the fun stuff about it, but so it is a pretty good anxiolytic. For as far as herbals, I think it's one of the best. Like, kava is very well studied. There is some stuff they've looked at it to get people off anxiety medication, and supposedly you don't build dependency. And I can confirm, like, I've used a lot of kava and I've never felt like any detrimental effects from the days I don't take it. So one of the best sleep aids I've found for me, because mine is all anxiety. So it's like, if I can lower my stress and anxiety, like, I sleep okay. Like, that's kind of the formula for me. Kava Valerian, absolutely worth looking into. Those are two different herbs. I mean, valerian, both of them are kind of work on the GABA system and are indicated for sleep. I use tincture form. I'll link it. People just comment below. Like, I'm going to try to rapid fire this. If you want me to link anything or go deeper into something, just let me know. Again, so insomnia, hyperbaric fits into that category. There's a peptide bioregulator called Epitalon that helps to reset circadian rhythm and your cortisol melatonin cycle, which if you've had a dysregulated sleep cycle for long, like, that tool can be amazing to get your sleep cycle back in balance. A lot of studies on that. Obviously, peptides is my forte. Most of the stuff I talk about business-wise, I'm heavily involved in peptides. So you could look at Selank too. Selank's a peptide, anxiolytic. You can use it as a nasal spray. That is a great one in my opinion. So on to depression. So BPC 157 it works on dopamine and serotonin. It can help with depression. It is it's a fickle one. For some people, it will elevate their mood. For certain people, we don't understand why. This is very rare. Some people will actually get mood flattening, anhedonia, or they'll have increased anxiety. I can't recommend BPC without telling people that. Now, it's rare. It's a very small subset of people. And in my opinion, if you start very low in the dose, if you're very aware of how you feel, you will catch those issues and it won't be a problem. The problem I've seen, people don't catch it. They use BPC for a long period of time. When they come off, it's almost like the amount of time you use it for, you're going to feel off for that amount of time. So that's why I would just go into it very aware of that. Again, rare. And BPC can be amazing because it also works on traumatic brain injury. It heals. Like, it can be an amazing tool. So I have to say for depression, but there is that potential downside. You just got to really kind of just be aware when you go into it. Another one, PE-22-2E. I know, crazy, weird name. Another peptide. You could take it nasally. Decent feedback, at least worth looking into. There's 9-MeBC. That's not a peptide, very unique compound. It actually repairs the dopamine system. I don't know why it never kind of went deeper into clinical trials, but that one's from nootropic community. I've tried it. It's kind of really impressive stuff because it will actually heals and improves the dopamine system, which I don't know many things that actually do that. So definitely worth a look if you think depression, if you're kind of more of the dopamine side of things for depression. Another one off the radar, bromantine. That is a synthetic adaptogen from Russia. Very fascinating compounds, banned by WADA, which is the World Anti-Doping Association that has to do with sports because it is a performance enhancer. That one's cool as like a nootropic performance booster, focus booster. People do use it for depression. Like, it's really good. It works on dopamine system. It actually modulates stress, and it's a mild stimulant. So very fascinating compound. Depression, Cerebrolysin. I love Cerebrolysin. I think it's like my plug all, because if it works for you, it's an amazing tool. It heals, low risk of side effects, high reward. Like, those are the things I like. Cortexin is very similar to Cerebrolysin. That's also animal derived. Those are the only two biologics that are like targeted for brain repair. I don't know anything else that's like that. Both are amazing. Both actually indicated for autism, like really impressive stuff for autism. So if you have a child or yourself, you're kind of on the spectrum, which I am spectrum. Probably why I love these things is everything that kind of fits for that works for me well. Again, depression, ketamine, amazing. Psilocybin, amazing. Psychedelics, like, if you're major depressive, like, if I was dealing with depression all the time, I would go as far down the psychedelic rabbit hole as possible, because it can really help to, neurogenesis and changing the way your brain fires. Like, it's just, the science is there, the anecdotals are there. Nothing's a one size fits all cure, but to me, if you're suffering, like, shit, I'm trying that stuff. Again, depression, NAD+, another one that fits a lot of stuff. Dihexa is a very powerful brain healing peptide. I think it would work, potential for anxiety, for depression, definitely for Alzheimer's and dementia, anything kind of neurocognitive. I don't know. I think it's worth a shot. It's just one that it's been a good experience. I think it's worth trying. Okay. Moving on to addiction. So it's going to be a lot of repeat with addiction. So, and to me, addiction is tricky because how do you treat addiction? Like, the root of the addiction is typically, in my opinion, for me, baseline, not a good baseline, or we're trying to self-treat something where it's your mood is too low, or you're anxious, or you have trauma, you're trying to numb out. Like, there's usually something underneath that addiction that we are trying to get away from, or you have an addictive, like, there's times like a lot of times, like, I've felt good, but my personality is like, I want to feel better. Like, I'm like, I can take this shit, I'm going to feel really good. And it's like, I didn't even feel bad. I just wanted to get higher. And it's like, that's my personality. So it's like, I have to be very cognizant. So it's just like, it takes a self-awareness to peel back the onion and figure out what the hell, like, what is the reason you're reaching for those things. And it's like, dopamine feels good. I mean, as humans, we like to feel good. So we gravitate towards feel good, and people get addicted to social media and Instagram and business, whatever drives your dopamine system. Like, you boil it down to chemicals, like, we just do what feels good. And some of us, we choose the wrong stuff that makes a very bad impact, and can actually damage those systems, so that when we stop doing that, we really feel bad. And that is the mess. And that's where just coming off of it isn't enough. You know, if you can get off the meds or whatever you're taking, but if you don't have something that can get you to the point that can get you at least relief, or can start to replace those feel-good chemicals you're chasing, then that's what people relapse. Or like, you feel like crap and you're just like, I don't want to live like this. Like, I'm going to turn back to whatever makes me feel good, like whatever helps me stop suffering. So that is the complex piece, in my opinion, for addiction. And again, what works amazing for addiction? NAD plus, studied 50, 60 years. Don't know why it's not a frontline fucking treatment for this. You could save a lot of people. You could save them from going on meds, help them recover from so much stuff, traumatic brain injury, PTSD, like all of it. Like, it's all damage, and NAD plus actually heals. It's not just a Band-Aid suppression. Like, it can really help to rebalance neurochemistry and get you back to a good place. Solank, CMAX, those are both peptides. You can use those intranasal. More mild, but again, they fit into increase in BDNF, which is brain-derived neurotrophic factors, which ties into, if your BDNF is low, these are just kind of their growth factors in the brain. If your BDNF is low, it's directly correlated to depression. So simple thinking me, I'm like, all right, well, increase BDNF and I'll probably feel better. And I've found that compounds that increase BDNF oftentimes elevate mood, because it's helping to heal, it's helping to repair, it's helping to get your brain back to optimal function. So yeah, Solank, CMAX, those are pretty cheap, very easy to try. I wouldn't say that they're like game-changing amazing, but they're great tools that are very easy to use. Cerebrolysin, again, repeating the same stuff. So Cerebrolysin has been indicated for opiates. There is some anecdotal reports of people using high doses of Cerebrolysin and like having amazing results, cutting withdrawals massively. And to me, Cerebrolysin makes you feel better. Like, the times I've used Cerebrolysin, like, I've never felt so good in my life. Like, for me, ADD, I'm usually hyper, I'm usually go, go, go. There's always this incessant feeling of like, I gotta be doing more. I need to be pushing her, you know? So it's hard for me just to sit down and relax. And Cerebrolysin, it calms my brain. It slows that incessant flow of ideas, which I like sometimes. But there's times like it helps me be present. It helps me I just feel good. I can be present with my family. I can hang out on Saturday and just enjoy life, you know? And it's like that, to me, like, that's amazing. It's like the closest I felt to at peace. I know it says crazy to say, but it was like Cerebrolysin helps me like get there. And it's like, I want my baseline to be at that point where it's like, I can do this without, like, my goal isn't just biohack always. Like, I want to get my baseline as high as possible. Like, and see what I can do, like, see what heals me and gets me there. Like, that is the goal. The goal isn't just to constantly just do this stuff endlessly, because it is tiring, it is expensive, but like it is worth it. So, and having Cerebrolysin and some of these things gets me to experience, like, hey, like, it opens your mind, like, damn, like, this is what life could be like. Like, this is what I want life to be like. This is great. And it helps me, motivate me, to push me. Like, you know what, if I keep doing everything right, if I stop doing dumb shit, then I'm going to keep feeling better and better. And it's like, it's just logic. Like, if I take out alcohol and all the stuff that's damaging and hurting me, I'm going to heal very slowly. If I do everything within my power to do positive stuff, replace that, like, there's just, logic says I'm going to feel better. I'm not going to say I'm going to cure. I'm not, like, I hate the word cure. But just logic says I will feel better than I feel now. So it's like, cool. Like, if I do this, I'm going to get this result. Like, just very logical kind of mindset. I'm starting to ramble. This is a long video. Addiction, again, hyperbaric, amazing, heals the brain with addiction issues. A lot of time there's damage, and it's calming. It makes you feel good. Again, addiction to me is, we don't feel good. We want to chase feeling better. So it's, you know, to me, this is one of those things you can stack in when you're not feeling good. Like, all right, I'm going to do hyperbaric. I'm going to go you know, I'll take a little Cerebrolysin or whatever, that stack of things that works for you, so that you can dodge that craving. For me, like alcohol craving was just like, God, like there'd just be times like it'd be a long week of work, just be tired and too wired, and it would just be like past the package store, and it's like, oh, I know if I start drinking right now, I'm gonna feel nice and relaxed, and then next day regret my life and be like, I did it again. My voice, I'm officially losing the voice. Addiction, again, cortexin, similar to Cerebrolysin. I repeat that one. LDN, low dose naltrexone. Really good feedback on that. That one actually modulates the immune system, so people are using it for Lyme and mold, but for addiction, for chronic fatigue, like really worth looking into. And I think they use full dose naltrexone to actually like block the effects of alcohol. So obviously a fantastic one to look at. I wrote psilocybin for addiction. Again, psychedelics in general, anything that's going to help rewire your brain and get you out of those typical kind of habits. Sorry. Can make a world of difference. Okay, so mindset stuff. So I just covered a bunch of stuff that can help you feel better, work on the chemical side. And it's just one piece to this puzzle, because for me, like I like the chemical side, where I'm like the science and the feeling better, like that's my forte. The stuff that I ignored was the internal work and the spiritual and the mindset. Like I didn't like it. I don't want to like, I don't really have traditional religious beliefs. And I'm not, God, I hate the word atheist. Like I'm not an atheist. Like I just don't have traditional religious beliefs. Like I'm open-minded. Like I keep considering and just testing theories and whatever. Like, but whatever, my opinion for that stuff, like, and belief and faith is very, very, very important. I think from a health standpoint, having some kind of positive based belief, whatever fits, I don't care what it is, whatever works for you, whatever makes you feel your best, it's like, stick with that. And what I've done is I've gone through a lot of stuff. Like I've studied Taoism. I actually really like Taoism, which is, I'm not even going to attempt to explain it, but I just listen to a lot of different theories and ideas on life and stuff, and find the pieces that fit for me and what makes sense. And I've come to conclusions and kind of my view on life. Like I feel good about it. Like I feel my point. Like I kind of like the religion I've created, which to me is just, it's very, I'm not even gonna go into it. Find what works for you. I think Taoism is cool. Okay, I'm gonna move on from that. And okay, so so a couple books that were actually life-changing for me. So there's a book by Byron Katie. It's called Loving What Is, which sounds hippy-dippy, kind of whatever. But she presents a really good, simple process to question some of the things that are bothering you, whether it's relationships, whether it's situations. It's a very simple inquiry process that can lead you to answers and challenge if you have bad beliefs, if you have reoccurring thoughts that are not serving you, that are really hurting you. It is a great tool to just dig deeper into it and really kind of, it's a way to challenge those and ask yourself, like, are these actually true? Like, is this belief true? Like, is this benefiting me? Would I benefit without? What would my life be like if I didn't have this belief? Like, would I benefit? So it's like, why am I holding on to it? I'm not going to attempt, again, I won't attempt to explain it, but she's got some videos on YouTube, and the book, Loving What Is a great book. Like, I think it's a very simple process. I understood it very quickly, and I kind of, she gives good examples and stuff, but I don't want to ramble. It's well worth looking into, and I think it can make something, if you can shift an internal belief, a deep belief, if you can shift that, like that alone can make a huge difference. And I've had that happen with ketamine a few times, kind of just coming to conclusions and changing the way I viewed something, like really could make a massive difference in your life and the difference you feel. Another person I followed, like when I felt terrible, going through really hard times, I found her on YouTube. It's called Teal Swan, and I would say a little woo-woo, but I mean, the stuff she says, she explains it extremely well. Like, she's had a very hard past, and really breaks down and gives very, very useful tools to manage times that you don't feel good, or just kind of, she presents a very interesting perspective on what drives some of these issues. And there's no person, again, this comes back to my opinion, I've never found one person that has it all right. Everyone has a kind of a set protocol or beliefs on what drives these issues, and everyone's a little bit different. Like, if you ask me, like, my stuff might fit for people, and what I recommend might not just be it, and be like, you know what, that's not what fits. So again, trial and error, find what fits for you. Another book, really good book in my opinion, it's called Letting Go. It is a very unique I mean, I didn't say it's a unique process. It's actually very simple. But for me, it helped me to separate from the thoughts, because when you're depressed, your thoughts become depressed. When you're anxious, it's like your thoughts just follow how you feel, and you can't control that shit. You're just along for the ride. So being able to separate from those thoughts and create space with, like, you know, mindful meditation and stuff. But letting go is a very interesting kind of approach to that, and gives you gave me a really good kind of tool that I could use really anytime, anywhere, to help decompress from very intense emotions without getting stuck in this loop of, I'm like, for me, I try to solve everything. Mentally, I'm going to solve this with my mind. And sometimes that doesn't always work. So there's a time when it's just like, just kind of allowing yourself to process that emotion. And that emotion will pass a lot faster if you just let it go. I mean, it is called letting go, but it kind of explains it. It's a very unique process. And I'm not going to keep rambling, because this is, oh God, I'm at an hour. I don't even care. I'm just going to get done. It's got to get done. Okay. Mindfulness, meditation, fantastic. Meditation in general, know this, amazing. There's something I've termed as a focus meditation. I've never heard anybody talk about it. It's very unique. I use it specifically for panic attacks and depression and just very painful emotions. I actually have a video on it. I explain it. Never heard anybody else talk about it. I guess I formulated it based off some books, and which sounds nuts, but it's nothing crazy. It's just this very weird, this very interesting meditation technique that I learned that would get relief pretty quickly from anxiety and depression and stuff. And I'm not saying like, oh, just gone. I'm saying like it will lower the pressure. Like if my anxiety is at an 80 to 90%, like using this technique, I can kick it down to like, you know, a 60 or 70% and make it more tolerable. And when things are really, really bad and nothing's helping, like that's a tool I can use anytime, anywhere. I'll link it if anybody wants, just comment below. Anxiety, there's a book called Dare, which is worth looking into. It really just talks about, I mean, just pushing into the fear. If you fear, that's the death cycle. You know, you can't avoid it. If, you know, you can't run from your internals. So that is the pain in the ass with this stuff. All right, I think I covered a ton. There's more. I got a long list, but at least that, I feel like there's a long list of tools you can kind of work off of, look into. If you have questions about stuff, just comment below. I'm going to end up putting this, it's all going to go on my website. I'm going to organize this. It's going to, you know, it's going to have sections, anxiety and addiction, but, you know, I'm going to be doing all things health. I just needed to offload this first because to me, there's a lot of people suffering. I've suffered, and if some of the stuff I share can make a difference, like I got to pass it off. Like this stuff needs to get passed to the next generation for those, because you know, I need to help people that like me, that are desperate. Like I was desperately searching for anything, watching every YouTube video. I'm talking to everyone online. Like when I went through my shit, and it's like, I couldn't find the person. I couldn't find the expert. I couldn't find the tools, and you know, the stuff is out there. So hopefully this video hits people, you know, that are struggling or know someone's struggling, and, you know, we can kind of keep circulating this information to help masses get the good stuff out there. All right. Long video. Thanks for watching. Peace out.